Good afternoon, students of class 12. Welcome to the live chat of English literature live class. Okay, kindly write your name, your class, your section and your roll number on the chat. Kindly write your name, full name, section and roll number. For example, Andaurai, section A, roll number 1. Mamita, you have done a good job. Yes, it should be like this. Mamita De Burma, roll number 33, section E. This is the correct way to mark your attendance. We are going to mark your attendance, so you must write your full name, your section and your roll number. We will be waiting for a few more minutes, okay, so that all the majority of the students can sign in for this class. Remember, students, this is a live class. All right, so any other comments, any other side comments or personal chats is not allowed. If you have any question, you can type it and you can send it. Other than that, we will not be entertaining any other questions. Okay. We'll wait till 50. Okay. For those of you who have, for example, Mohima Chakma, you have not entered your roll number and your section. And kindly write down in one line, okay? No emojis, please. Bishop Paul, you have not entered your section and your roll number. Bishop Paul, kindly enter your section and your roll number. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I know we have waited for this for the past few days, and I am sure that most of you have gone through the video that was posted 2 days back in St. Paul School YouTube channel. The story is about a chapter in Ecos, The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. Okay, and a very brief explanation was given of the text, and today we are going to discuss at length the themes, the characters and any other relevant issues that are related to that chapter. And I am also sure that you must have read the text which was sent to you on your WhatsApp groups in a PDF format. So I will assume that you have already read the text, you have already watched the video. Okay, so from that, okay, from that note, I will be taking the class ahead. make sure that you listen carefully, okay? And if you do want me to repeat anything, just say it once, all right? Then I shall repeat it. Now this is how the class is going to be, all right? I will just give a brief summary of the story, very brief, and right away I will go to the themes and the characters that are involved in the story, and we will also discuss on certain issues that are related to the characters as well as the issues in the story, okay? All right, The Story of an Hour is written by Kate Chopin, as we all know. She is an Australian writer, and you have already been briefed about the biography, okay, the biodata of the writer, so I will not go into that again. And just to recap on what we had done what we had explained in the video class, okay, in the video of this particular topic, we are introduced to Mrs. Mallard. Her real name is Louise Mallard, okay? She is married to a man called Brentley Mallard, and they have not been married for a long time. However, we come to know that she has a very sick condition. She's not healthy. She has a heart condition, and there are other two characters there that are mentioned. Her sister Josephine, Louise's sister Josephine, and their friend Mr. Richards, who is actually Mr. Mallard's friend. Okay, I hope you're clear about the characters. There are four characters in the story, okay? Mrs. Mallard, Mr. Brentley Mallard, all right, Mrs. Mallard's sister Josephine, and Richards, who is a friend of Brentley Mallard. Okay, so that is all that you need to know about the characters. Now the story revolves around Mrs. Mallard's character, okay? She has been given the news that her husband has died in a train accident, and the news was given by Mr. Richards, who had just heard the news, and without confirming it, he just came and told Josephine. Now Josephine told Mrs. Mallard the news, and Mrs. Mallard did not even listen fully to the story, but then as natural as a woman would feel for her husband, okay, she cried. And after she cried, she went to her room, and in her room there is a chair, okay, there is an open window. Now she goes ahead towards the open window, all right, and she sits on her chair. It's an armchair, very comfortable armchair, and she is kind of disturbed. Number one, because her husband died. Number two, because she does not know what to expect next. And here, as she looked out of the open window, she could see many things, okay, she could hear many things. First, she sees the trees, all right, full with blossoming with new leaves. That means it's the mark of spring, something very important to the story, all right. And she also sees the blue patches of the sky, which is overridden with clouds. That is also very symbolic in the story. Then we also see we also read that she hears the sounds that are coming. Somebody singing and the peddler crying for his wares. Okay, these are normal things that she hears physically, she sees physically. But then there is another version of Mrs. Mallard that is being addressed to here in the story, and that is what she is feeling emotionally, that is inside her. So I want you to use your imagination. I want you to put yourself in Mrs. Mallard's shoes, okay? Number one, husband died suddenly. Number two, here she is in her room feeling all this, hearing all these sounds, okay, and feeling emotional, but at the same time uncertain of the future, okay? So as the story goes, all right, Mrs. Mallard suddenly finds herself in a situation where she is kind of expecting an unusual feeling coming towards her. Now mark these words, unusual feeling, okay? This is a feeling. It's not a solid thing, all right? You cannot, it's not a rigid thing. You cannot just hold on to it. But then she feels like this powerful, unusual, unaddressed, mysterious feeling it's coming to possess her. And that open window that it's being mentioned in the story, that open window, it's just a symbolical of it. Okay, so she wants to fight that feeling. She wants to stop that feeling. And what is that feeling? It's the feeling of freedom. Okay, freedom from what? Freedom from, maybe from the marriage, okay, maybe freedom from her husband ruling over her, okay, freedom from the duties and the obligations that she has as a wife, or as a person, as a woman who is married. Okay, so that feeling of freedom, she wants to embrace it, she wants to accept it, that yes, I'm free now. But at the same time, she is scared, she is hesitant, and she tries to fight that feeling. And there is a mention of her hands here, okay, that her hands were very, in the text, they were very weak, a very slender hands. That means you can imagine a tall, slender woman and the hands that are very, you know, slim and very beautiful. So she does not fight it physically, but she's fighting it emotionally, she's fighting it spiritually, she's fighting it you know, mentally. Okay, so it's a very difficult moment for her. Here she is mourning the death of her husband. Okay, it's a sudden news. All right, she does not know how to react, she cries, but then now she's again in a you know, in a mix, don't know how to feel, whether she should be accepting this feeling of freedom, or she should continue feeling trapped, or feeling, you know, bounded in this relationship that she is. Okay, so the story goes on, and then she suddenly releases, she suddenly let goes. Now many of us, we sometimes face this emotional thing. Okay, I don't know how many of you are very emotional as a person, but then most people, okay, we are a person or a human being. I would like to put this in a very simple manner, is made up of three things: the body, the soul, the spirit. Okay, body, soul, and spirit. Now the body is a physical thing which you can see, which you can touch. Okay, and then we have the soul. Okay, the soul is your feeling, your intellect, your emotion, your ability to rationalize things, your ability to how to say, decide. Okay, so this becomes your soul. Then comes your spirit, and spirit is the one that lives forever. Okay, and here the spirit, okay, is always how to say, the life of the human being, or the life of the body, or the life of the soul. So here Mrs. Mallard is not on the bodily feeling anymore, she is in her spirit and in her soul. I want you to be very clear on this. All right, we are not talking of Mrs. Mallard as a body, we are talking of Mrs. Mallard as a spirit and as a soul. Okay, she's having all these mixed emotions of whether to be happy that, you know, that I'm finally free, I have no husband anymore to tell me what to do and what not to do, or should I just fight that feeling? No, I'm not supposed to feel that way, I'm supposed to cry a little longer, I'm supposed to mourn a little longer. Okay, so here Mrs. Mallard is very, very confused, but she finally let goes. Okay, and the first word that comes from her mouth in a whispered tone, remember, whisper, she doesn't say it out loud, she whispers. Okay, so she says, free, 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 body and mind and soul free. Okay, so now she is mixing all the three parts of human, okay, body, mind and soul, free. That means I am free in my soul and spirit, but I'm also free physically. There is nobody to boss me around anymore. Okay, there is nobody whom I have to go and ask permission if I want to go out. There is nobody who I will have to please anymore. I can please only myself. So here is what Mrs. Mallard is feeling: freedom. Okay, and with that newfound freedom, she becomes so happy. All right, and she now she's praying that her life will be long, because the day before her husband died, okay, she was kind of hesitant that life will be long. She was like, oh God, life is going to be so long, how can I live more like this? But then now, the next day, after hearing about her husband's death and after embracing the freedom, she finally says that yes, I wish life is long. Okay, she cannot wait to embrace that new life of freedom, Now she's thinking of her future. Remember, women are like this, okay? We always think about the future. So here, as a woman, she thinks about the upcoming, seasons and days and years, where she will go out anytime she wants, where she will do things anytime she wants to do things, okay? Live wherever, whatever way, all right? And she starts dreaming about this newfound life. And here, outside the door, her sister Josephine is worried, because she's taking a long time and she's very quiet in the room. She's placing her ear on the door and trying to listen whether Mrs. Mallard is doing fine or not. And Mrs. Mallard said, "Go away, I am fine." Okay, and we all know that how fine she is. So here, when she comes out of the door, okay, she walks out like a goddess of victory. Very important, okay? Goddess of victory. Now, why does she feel herself like a goddess of victory? Because she has fought a battle. And what is the battle? The battle of getting her freedom, the battle of attaining her freedom, okay? Now, remember, this battle is not physical battle, okay? She's not with swords and guns and knives. But then this is a spiritual battle. See, this is a soulful battle, emotional battle that she had just won. That now she's finally able to say that, yes, I am free. Body, soul, and spirit. So she comes out of the room walking like a goddess of victory, comes down the stairs with her sister Josephine, and tada, Brentley Mallard arrives. Okay, and news was like that his friend Richards did not even listen to the whole news. He just looked at the list and he saw Brentley Mallard's name, and then he came home rushing and broke the news to the sister and the wife. But then the truth was that Brentley Mallard was not even near the accident area. Okay, he was not aboard the train, he was not in the platform, nowhere near the accident area. He was fine, okay, and he came back home. Now, the moment they saw him, Josephine, she cried, okay, she kind of like, "Oh, you're alive." And then here, Richards also was shocked because he thought that he was dead, okay. And when they turned towards Mrs. Mallard, she had already died of heart attack. Okay, now the question at the last line of the text, it says, of joy that kills. Okay, what joy is that killed Mrs. Mallard? Was it really a joy, or was it really, sadness? Well, this is a question which I want you guys to answer this, okay? I want you boys and girls to answer this question. Later on, we will be uploading your assignments for this chapter, so you will be addressing these questions. Anyway, today we will deal on themes and characterization, okay? Now, the first important theme that I want you to see here is the feminism. I'm not sure how many of you know what is feminism, okay? Some of you may not know. So I will clear this out once and for all, okay? Let us look at 4 important concepts. Number 1, female. I hope you know what is a female. It's the opposite of male, okay? A female is a woman, a girl, a lady, all right? Female, with all the bodily features, okay? With all the emotional, spiritual things that you can put in a lady or in a woman, or in the female gender. Then next up we have feminine. Feminine means something related to being female. For example, the way a girl walks, okay, or the way a woman walks, or the way a woman dresses up, or the way a female matches her clothes and her shoes. Now these things can be called feminine. This is a kind of a habit, a habitual thing, which is natural, okay? It comes in as natural, like it comes from within. It is not something that can be adapted to. So being feminine is something that is natural, habitual, okay? Now the next word is called feminist. Feminist is a person who stands for feminism, and for that I want you to note down this very carefully. Feminism is I don't want to make it very political, okay, but then in a very simple meaning, I want to put it the equal rights for men and women. I will give an example. I want to get a job, okay, say in a bank, and I have given all my entrance exams, okay, I have passed well, and I am eligible for it. Then there is another candidate for the same post, okay, and he has also done his exams, he has also passed well. So for example, if the bank, okay, if the whatever the board in the bank, they take an interview and both this male and female goes for it. For example, female, I call her A, male, I call him B. So A goes for the interview, okay, she does very well, she aces it, she could answer all the questions, and she's very sure that she will get a job. Then B also goes for it the same way, okay, and he did not answer just one question. All right, now if you were in that board member, whom will you give the job? Obviously you'll give the job to A, because she has met all the criteria, she's eligible, okay, as far as her qualifications are concerned, and according to the interview she has done better than B. But the board members chooses B for the job. Now, can you call that equality? No, we cannot. Okay, so this is called gender equality. All right, and feminism deals with this kind of thing. All right, but I want to also let you know what is not feminism. Feminism is not standing up for women's rights obnoxiously. What I mean to say is that it is not just women can do whatever man can. Yes, we can do whatever man can, but that doesn't mean that we are going to fight for that only. Okay, we are asking for our rights according to our qualification, just like the example that I gave you. Okay, that is called feminism. Okay, please be clear on this. Feminism is not, you know, going outrageous for rights of women. If you are pilot, I can also be pilot, okay? Or if you are hammering a nail on the wall, I can also do that. Yes, we can. But that doesn't mean that based on that we are going to fight for whatever. It doesn't mean that if I'm not qualified, for example, A was not qualified and B was qualified, and A says you did not choose me because I'm a woman, you cannot go and fight like that. That is not feminism. Okay, that is a totally an opposite of what feminism stands for. So please be clear on this issue. Okay, now feminist is a person who stands for feminism or the concept of feminism, all right, who stands for the rights of gender equality. So this is one of the first themes that we will deal with, okay, in the story of an hour, that is feminism. Now remember, Kate Chopin was among the first person or first lady to of her time, okay, I'm sorry, she's not the first lady, but of her time, to be ahead of her time and write things about this. Now, why is it so important that we bring this feminism topic here in the story? Because Mrs. Mallard, okay, Mrs. Mallard is not mentioned as, nothing has been mentioned about her, what she does, what's her qualification. All that is mentioned about Mrs. Mallard is that she is the wife of Brindley Mallard. Okay, now this is one-sided. All right, anybody can become a wife, okay, any female can become a wife, okay, but then the point here is that Mrs. Mallard may be equally qualified as her husband. Okay, maybe she is qualified for a job, maybe she is way more artistic or way more creative or way more better a spouse than her husband. That is also possible, but none of that is being mentioned here. Okay, the only thing that has been mentioned is that she's the wife and she's very you know, she has a heart problem and that she's going through a hard time. That is all that is mentioned. So it is a feministic approach to the role of women in the next topic that we're going to do, that is marriage, equality in marriage. All right, now gender equality in marriage is also a very important issue that I want to talk about today, because we are Indians. Okay, let's be honest with this. Since we are Indians, okay, we all know what happens in a marriage. Now I don't want to generalize anything here, okay, but I want to talk about the gender equality in a marriage. Now in a marriage, in Indian society, marriage is looked upon as a very holistic institution, okay, and it's a very big, you know, it's a very big, how to say, institution at large if we look at marriage. Now what really happens in a married life of a man and a woman? Let's talk about parents. Okay, now as children we are expected the father to work, the mother to be in the kitchen, okay, the father to bring the food, the mother to cook the food, the father to earn the money, the mother to not spend the money, okay, but then to economize and everything. Now that is what kind of unwritten roles that are given to men and women in marriage. Okay, the husband will work, he will do all the things that is exterior, and the wife will be inside the house, unseen by any public people, okay, and she will be taking care of the house, the children, the husband, etc., etc. But then, is it really like that? It is not exactly like that, okay. Things have changed now. We are in the postmodern era. Everything has, most things have changed. Now women are working, men are taking care of children at home. But then during that time, during Kate Chopin's time, it was not like that, okay. It was totally different. Men were supposed to rule over women, and women were to be like, yes, husband, okay, yes, yes, yes to everything the man says. The man means the husband here, okay. So this is what I'm talking of, gender equality in marriage. Okay, now most of the times women feel suppressed in a patriarchal form of relationship. When we say patriarchal, it means that the man is the head of the house, okay, or the head of the home or whatever, and then the woman is subjected to the man, and she is supposed to do whatever the man says to do, whether it's right or wrong. She cannot question him. She cannot say but, okay, she cannot say this also. She will have to just follow whatever it is. We know, you know, I know that this is totally has changed, okay, in our era, in our period, because why? People have changed. But then imagine in those days, okay, 1920s, in the early 20th century, things were not like that. Women were subjected to patriarchal system, okay, and I think it's safe to say that in India this still goes on. All right, in many states this still goes on. Men still rule the house, and women are just you know, obligated to do whatever their husbands say. So here Mrs. Mallard is facing the same kind of suppression, the same kind of oppression. That is why she was fighting, okay, that is why she was fighting that feeling of freedom that was coming to her. Okay, so that's why Mrs. Mallard was very, very careful that she should not, you know, feel that way. She should not say that, oh, my husband is already dead, I don't have to ask permission anymore, I don't have to be obliged to do whatever, okay, and I don't have to, you know, I don't have to live for him anymore. I can live for myself. I can do whatever I want. I can go wherever I want. I can wear whatever I want. Okay? The years ahead of me are free. That means I am free now, body, soul, and spirit. So this was that feeling, okay, that from oppression that Mrs. Mallard was experiencing, and she was a little bit, very much scared to embrace. She felt like it was kind of possessing her, that spirit of, that feeling of free, the freedom kind of feeling. So when she finally lets go, okay, when she finally, you know, says that, okay, fine, I don't want to fight this anymore, I'm free now, okay, then she feels that she won the battle, and she feels that she is the goddess of victory. But then here you may say, oh, that means, Miss, is it possible that Mrs. Mallard did not love her husband? No, it is not like that, okay, because clearly in the text it says that yes, she loves him. Sometimes, okay, I want you to mark that word sometimes in your text. The word sometimes here means what? She may not have loved him all the time. Okay, there may be times when she was angry with him, but she could not tell him. There were times that she was unhappy with him. She expected something, but he did not live up to the expectation. Maybe she was unhappy with that. Maybe there were times when he treated her unequally. Okay, maybe there were times when she did not feel free to do something which she would not have to worry about. Okay, so the word sometimes here, okay, it's very, very important. You need to mark that word. I'll repeat, you need to mark that word sometimes. It's not that Mrs. Mallard did not love her husband. She did sometimes, okay, and she knows that she's going to miss him. Obviously, it's her husband. Okay, she loves him, and obviously she's going to cry again when she sees his face, when she sees those tender hands, okay, when she sees the dead body. She's going to cry again. She's going to miss him. That relationship cannot be broken. That husband and wife relationship cannot be broken. It is too strong a bond to be just, you know, dismissed or done away with it. All right, so here she says that, but finally I'm still free, okay? I won't have to live for anybody else anymore. And at the last part, we come to the point where she finds her freedom. And as she walks off the room, okay, she walks like a goddess of victory, okay, walking out of the room, and maybe she was happy inside of her, okay. Then we come to the concluding part, okay, the part where Brentley Mallard shows up. All right, and at this point, the author Kate Chopin is very, very, I should say, smart enough to put out this question in front of the readers. Okay, let's look at the text a little bit. Yeah. So when the doctors came, that means she must have she must have fainted. Okay, so when the doctors came, they said she had died of heart disease, of joy that kills. The story, in the first line of the story, we come to know that Mrs. Mallard has a heart disease. Okay, so naturally the cause of her death would have been a heart disease, right? No, some of you say no. Okay, now I know why you say no. Some of you may say, you may be still confused, like, yeah, she might have died because she got shocked. Okay, Samuel, who is this? Relation bonding question is asked by whom? Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll deal with that question later. Okay, where are we? Where am I? Okay, I'm talking about the heart disease, which is a very natural cause for Mrs. Mallard to die. But then, you know, I know that this may not be the only reason why she died. Okay, and the last 4 words in the story of Joy That Kills is an ironical statement. Okay, mark these words. Of Joy That Kills, the last 4 words in the story is an ironical statement. Why? Because we know that Mrs. Mallard may not have been that happy to see her husband, because that would mean the end of her freedom, the newfound freedom. Okay, so I kind of have answered your question. All right, but then I still want to address on this again. Now, that are the basic themes that we have. We have feminism, we have gender equality in marriage, we have the marriage oppression, okay, or the patriarchal system. So these are the basic themes. Okay, there's another one that one student has mentioned. He didn't mention his name, but he talked of relation bonding is the most important part in human psychology. I'm sure, I suppose you're talking about the bond that is between a husband and a wife. Okay, because other than that, there are no other relation as such, except for the fact that Richards is their friend and Josephine is the sister. Yes, husband and wife bonding is there. It's absolutely there. Okay, that is why Mrs. Mallard realizes that yes, when she sees her husband's dead body, she is going to cry again. She's going to mourn. It's not that she has completely stopped mourning. It's not that she has already forgotten her husband. Okay, it is not like that. But that's why I said I need you to focus on 2 things very important here. One is the physical and one is the spiritual. Okay, physically, she has lost a husband. She has become a widow. Okay, and she is distraught. Her world is shattered. If it was a Bollywood movie, you can see that, you know, or we can see the bangles breaking on the wall, okay, or maybe the sindoor coming off of the forehead. All right, so these are the kind of physical things that you can see when a woman loses her husband. But then here, she's not only facing a physical trauma, she's also facing a spiritual, emotional, mental trauma. Okay, something which is in the inside, cannot be seen. Okay, and human beings, we're very good in acting, I should say. All right, I may be wanting to murder someone, but at the same time I can smile. Correct or wrong? Okay, or maybe you're not happy with your friend, and at the same time you can still talk so sweetly to that friend. It is possible. Human, we can hide our feelings. Okay, so the bond, the relationship that Brentley has with Louise must have been very good, because she really cried. Okay, she really cried. She really missed her husband, but at the same time, this situation has brought her to realize that she had not been free before. She was not free in her marriage. Okay, she feels suppressed, she feels oppressed, she feels that she is being used to, obliged to someone, or obligated or some way. So yes, psychologically she'll be feeling very confused. That was why she was fighting the feeling in the first place. Okay, she was trying to fight that feeling of freedom before, but when she finally lets go, okay, she becomes free. So I hope that kinds of answer your question. Now there are two other characters that I want to just mention here. One is Josephine. Okay, Josephine is the sister, and she is very concerned about Louise Mallard, because she is not a healthy person. She has a heart disease. Okay, and she's also seen to be a character here who is like a constant character. Okay, she is the connection between the friend and Mrs. Mallard and even Brentley. All right, then we also see Richards. Now Richards' character is very brief, but then it is one of the most important, because if he had not gone to the newspaper agency, he would not have known about the news of his friend's death. So this is very important. Okay, he is the carrier of the news, a messenger, you can say. All right, but then he's not a very how to say authentic messenger. Okay, because the news of, he did not wait for the second telegram, okay, or he did not wait for the second news to come, whether you could really, when people die, we really try to know how, when, and unless we see the death body, sometimes we don't want to believe in. But then here Richards did not wait for it. Instead, he just came rushing back and told that the husband died. So he is a very important messenger, but at the same time not a very authentic one. Okay, now I'll be open to any questions. If you have any questions that I can address, you may shoot them now. Okay, please type your questions. Yes, Sahil, sounds will lag, but then you be patient. Okay, be patient, hang in there. Video is lagging, that is sure. Sarah, I want to clear something. Mrs. Mallard did not die, and she's Mrs. Okay, not Miss. Be very careful, Sarah. It should be Mrs. Mallard, not Miss Mallard. And no, she descended the stairs with her sister and she died. But then here they did not really confirm her death yet. All right. Only when the doctors came, okay, they confirmed the death. So she must have felt unconscious or fainted. So be very textual. Why did they carry her to doctor? The doctors came. They did not carry her. The doctors came and examined the body. Why don't you tell me what is the main message of the story? This is a very good question. I think I will put it out for your assignment. What is the main message of the story? I have listed out all the main messages. So you can go through the story again, go through the video again, go through this live class again, and you conclude what is the main message of the story. Literature is not like science, okay? Let me clear that out. It is open to all. It's like a marathon race. It's open to all. You can either conclude in your own way, or if you want to disagree, that is also very much valid. Okay, you can do that. Yes, the news of her husband was fake. Wait, we cannot use the word fake here because Richards, their friend, kind of confirmed it in a news agency, but then he did not wait for the second confirmation. Okay, news like this have to be confirmed authentically, but he did not do it. He was in a rush. So, but then see, had this news not reached Mrs. Mallard, she would not have realized her freedom. Okay, and she would not have felt that 1 hour of freedom. Remember, this story takes a time span of 1 hour only. That's why it's called the story of an hour. Okay, in that 1 hour, Mrs. Mallard feels free. So had that news not reached there, then she would not have that 1 hour of freedom, or she would have, you know, gone through with that oppressed feeling her whole life. Okay, she would not have known that freedom. So it was necessary. Okay. Any other questions? How can freedom be more important than losing someone? I wish I could see your face and answer you. It's a very interesting question. Yes, how can freedom be more important than losing someone? Okay. I don't know how your childhood was. I don't want to go into there, but then let me draw a picture for you. Okay. What picture will I draw? A man and a woman. All right, husband and wife. So the husband comes home, okay, and the wife has already cooked dinner. So she expects the husband, he expects the wife to serve him dinner, okay. And after that, he watches TV. She does the dishes, okay. And after that, he takes bath, okay, goes to bed, and she has to clean up the kitchen and the house. The next morning they wake up. She wakes up earlier than him, okay. She cleans up herself, and then she makes the breakfast and packs the husband's lunch. He comes back, goes out, come in, no communication so much, okay, but then they're husband and wife, and life continues like that. So do you think the woman is free here? Do you think the woman has the freedom to, you know, just sit and watch TV like the husband? Probably not. Okay. That's why I said we are in the postmodern era right now. So it's very important for you to relate to this story, say 30 years back, closest, okay, or maybe let's say 50 years back. And here we're talking of a 1920 story, okay, an early 20th century story. So the situation, the society at that time expected the men to be the boss of the house, okay, and women to be the subordinate. And that's why feminism comes into the picture, okay, because why? Men and women must be treated equally. So in answer to your question, how can freedom be more important than losing someone? It's not that she is happy she lost her husband, but she is actually happy that she has found freedom. Okay, she is happy that she has found freedom at the cost of the husband's death. And it's not that she killed her husband. If she had killed her husband, then maybe that would have been a different issue. I need you to be more clear on what do you mean by women passion after marriage. I'm a woman. I can tell you I still want to teach even if after I get married. I still want to come to school every day. I want to have kids, but I still want to work. That can also be called passion. Now, will my marriage stop me or not? Will I allow my husband to stop me or not? Or if my husband says, no, I will not allow you to work after marriage, do you think I will get married? I will tell you the answer, no, I will not get married. Because my freedom is also equally important. Yes, she was bound to her marriage. Okay, she was bound. That is the right word. I'm so glad you used that. Okay, she was bound to her marriage. She was filled with obligation. I want you to consider this. Imagine your mothers, grandmothers, grandaunties. Okay, ask them this question: did they have any dreams before they got married? Did they have any aim in life? Or did they have any passion in their life that they wanted to do that they could not do because they got married? And 100% of the time I can tell you, yes, everybody has a dream, everybody has a passion. But why is it that men can accomplish that and women cannot? This story is supposed to actually open your mind, okay, to a whole new world of, how to say, a feminist approach to marriage. All right, yes, it is sad, it is emotional. Of course, it's not a happy story because the main character died at the end, but then it is supposed to open your eyes to what is really happening in a oppressed marriage. Okay. Now, as you continue, we will. I'll just go to the last issue that we want to deal with today. That is the relevance of this topic. Okay, that I addressed. For example, we talked about marriage. We talked about feminism. All right. So, how can we relate this in our modern world? How can we relate this? A few years back, there was a story. Not a story, there was a case, okay, of there were cases, actually, not just a case, there were cases of women being set on fire by their in-laws. There were cases of women being beaten black and blue. All right, there were cases of women being treated badly in their houses, in their homes, by their in-laws. Okay, there are so many cases, and we're talking of India right now. Okay, don't think of the world, we're talking of India because we're trying to relate this topic with our society. So in all those cases, can you call that the woman was free to say whatever that she wanted to say, or feel whatever she wanted to feel, or live her life the way she wanted to live? No, she was not. Okay, because she was expected to obey whatever the men in her family decides for her, starting from her education. In fact, starting from the time that she was born. Okay, if it's a girl child, oh, let's do away with her, let's kill her. That was what was going on in India few years back. Okay, and another thing, her education. After she finishes her 12th or after she finishes her BA, we'll just make her get married. What will she do with a job? She'll have children and then she'll leave the job anyway. There's no point in a woman having a job. Those were the conceptions of the society about women. Number 3, let her get married to anybody. Let him be a 53-year-old person, or let her get married at 14 years, or let her get married at 16 years, or let that person be a drunkard or a mawali. Okay, so these were the concepts of marriage on women, which the society had forced them to oblige, forced them to follow, forced them to say yes to, without any justification. So imagine the emotional trauma, imagine the mental state of a woman who has to go through all these things. Okay, for example, if I was during those age, okay, those society, now we're very much modern, we've come out of it, but then imagine we were still at that time. Okay, my mother had to leave her job because she had to take care of the children. I will have also to do the same. So life was, there was no future for the woman. And here, that's why Mrs. Mallard, she was like praying that, oh, life is going to be so long. I don't want life to be long. I don't want to live like this anymore. I feel so oppressed. They were expected to live that oppressive life, thinking that they were happy with it, assuming that they are happy with it, but they're actually not. And this is what we saw in the character of Mrs. Mallard. Okay? I don't know anything else. Any other question? Secret Superstar. That's very nice. You kind of draw a similar contrast between similarity between Secret Superstar. I like that. Okay, it's like you're expanding your mind. This is what I expect of you, and you're doing so well. But then let me clear another thing for you. Please don't refer to those movies or the instances that we refer to, okay, in your assignments. All right, when you write your assignment, please stick to the text. You can Google, you can YouTube it, you can take any help from anywhere. All right, but then you must be very textual, be very firm. Whatever point that you put on in your assignment, you must have a backup with the text. You must back it up with the textual references. Just like I did. I talked of marriage and I talk of Mrs. Mallard. Okay, then I talk of a husband-wife relationship. I talk of Mrs. Mallard and her husband Brentley, like that. So you must back it up with a textual reference. Don't use outside references. Okay, I hope we can wind up. If there are any other questions, you can always WhatsApp, and your assignments will be uploaded in the school website, so please check it out. Most of you have already given, not most, few of you have given your assignments for the previous video, for the previous lesson, that is, what was it? The singing lesson. Yeah, you have given a very good assignment on the singing lesson. I have received, I have assessed some of your assignments, which is very good. Keep them coming. Okay, keep me busy, keep them coming. And this one also, try to finish it. We will give you the deadline in the website itself. All right, and continue to be in touch with your studies. I hope you have all understood. If you have not, you can always text and WhatsApp. Okay, and you can also call if you want to. All right, so shall we wind up the live class today? Thank you everyone for being patient, and I hope you all do well. Thank you. This one problem.